What's up, guys? In this video we are going to talk about the keto diet and ketosis and why, and I say this with love to everybody who I might know personally who this offends, but like, please stop talking about ketosis. Like, just stop, okay? It's not as important as you think. I'm sorry, you're wrong. And I know furthermore that if you're like obsessively talking about ketosis, you gotta get into ketosis and keto and your ketone strips and stuff, you're probably fat, you're probably like extremely overweight, and you're like stuffing yourself on sticks of butter and I don't know, bacon or whatever. Okay, so we're gonna get into that in a second. If you have not subscribed to my channel, click that link in, down there or whatever, wherever it is. Click subscribe. I make videos all the time. Check out legendarysuitjamas.com. They make silk pajamas that look like suits, just like this pimped out shirt that I'm wearing, made of silk that I ironed from the chest up so I wouldn't get people telling me to iron my shirt anymore. Erica, or whatever your name is. Okay, now let's talk about ketosis, ketogenic diet, and why everybody just needs to stop talking about it. Okay, now, before we get into this is not a dig at, Cole Robinson or the Snake Diet guy. Not saying that like he's wrong, and this is not directed towards him. Okay, he knows what he's talking about. He can talk about ketosis as much as he wants. But for everybody else who is like obsessed with keto and getting into ketosis, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're doing it wrong, okay? Here's why you're doing it wrong, all right? Number one, well, let's look at keto first and what most people seem to think the ketogenic diet actually is. Okay, number one, most people think that you cut out carbs and you eat lots of fat and some protein, okay? And technically that is what it is. However, why would anybody do this? Like, why would anybody try to do keto? Okay, it's only, pretty much exclusively, extremely, again, not trying to offend anyone, extremely fat, overweight people, obese people, who, instead of doing what I consider to be just the logical thing and reducing their eating frequency and eating less food, again, not to sound like a patronizing asshole, but like, is that not that's the practical thing to do, the logical thing to do? Instead of doing that, they are looking for yet another miracle cure, quick, magical thing that they can do to drop all the weight in as fast a time as possible without doing the hard things like going to the gym or eating less often or eating less calories. Okay, so what actually happens when people do keto or go keto is that they still eat with the same eating frequency, which is wrong, okay? You need to eat less. They still eat with the same eating frequency, number one, and they don't reduce their portion size at all. They just go from stuffing themselves on foods that are high in carbs, generally mostly processed foods like Oreos and chips and shit like that, soda, whatever. They go from stuffing themselves on that to stuffing themselves on bacon and meat and like all of this. I'm not saying it's unhealthy, obviously meat is good for you, but they go overboard with the calories. And if you are trying to lose weight, you don't need to eat that much food. Like, you shouldn't eat any food, really. You just shouldn't eat any food if you're trying to lose weight. It's that simple. But people, I don't know, maybe it just doesn't occur to them. That's also possible. But this is my main problem with the ketogenic diet, and why, like, honestly, I wish everybody would just stop talking about it. Not saying it doesn't work. It's one of those things that it does work if you do it properly. Like the way it was originally intended to be done, I guess you could say is a good idea. I mean, it works, right? Your body will burn ketones for fuel or fat for fuel instead of glycogen. Like, that'll actually happen, that's a thing. But if you're stuffing yourself on lots of fat, then are you really giving it the opportunity to burn those ketones for fuel? No, why would it? You just ate a bunch of fat, it'll just burn that fat instead when you finally do get into ketosis. Okay, so that's number one, keto is bad, stupid, don't do it. Okay, reason number two. Okay, now this might be a little bit of correlation does not equal causation. However, okay, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, that just means that just because two things happen at the same time or are correlated does not mean that one of them caused the other. Okay, this is something that I'm fond of saying when you hear, scientific studies that say like, oh, meat was correlated with an increased risk of dying from heart disease. Okay, so in situations like that, you have to examine everything. All right, however, I will say this about correlation versus causation, which is that if two things are correlated, that does not mean that one caused the other. However, you should still take a look and see if maybe the fact that they are correlated, maybe not doesn't mean that one causes the other, but maybe just the fact that they're correlated is enough to create some kind of, or maybe not create, but involve some kind of third variable that connects everything together. Okay, so what does this have to do with ketogenic diet? Well, in my experience, okay, and this is just my own, personal experience, N=1, I have never in my life, okay, I'm 35 years old, been working out 20-ish years, never in my life have I once met somebody who has been doing a ketogenic diet who has the type of body that I admire, okay? Type of body that I would want to have, man or woman, okay? Not a single time have I ever met personally one. The only one that I can think of, if you guys have seen, I forget the documentary, but it's this documentary about steroids. It came out maybe 10 years ago, and it was like, I forget what it's called. If you remember what this is called, leave me a comment, let me know. But the guy's younger brother's name is Smelly. It's like his nickname, Smelly, whatever. And this guy Smelly, years after the documentary came out, he leveraged the fame that he got from this documentary to grow his YouTube channel. He's got like billion subscribers right now, and he's jacked like through the roof. However, the guy's on a ton of juice, so I don't know. I think if you're doing steroids, you can, all these, like, not to get off on a tangent, but all of these vegan bodybuilders, most of them are on steroids, which, again, not to take away anything from them, it still takes a lot of work to look that good, but, come on. It's, I don't know. Is that, not, I don't want to say it's cheating, but you're kind of, you're stacking the deck in your favor by using those drugs. So like, how much is it does it really have to do with your, lentils that you're eating and your soy or tofu? Or is it, the 500 grams of test that you're running every week? Okay. Not to get off on a tangent. Okay. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I've never met anybody who does a ketogenic diet who looks good, who I would say like, wow, like what's this guy doing? Like, I want to do what he does. Furthermore, where are the professional athletes who do keto? Okay. Because I promise you, if there were any, okay, like high performance athletes, like high intensity athletes, famous ones, who did a ketogenic diet, I'm not talking baseball players who are like, stand around all the time and don't actually do very much physical activity. If there were any professional MMA fighters who did keto, or, I don't know, Olympic athletes who were on a ketogenic diet, I'm pretty sure that the community of people who do the ketogenic diet would not hesitate to make those people famous and point to them and say, look, this guy does it, therefore it's healthy, just like you have with all of the vegan athletes, right? That's why those vegan athletes get so famous, because there's so much push against veganism, there's so much conflict surrounding that the argument is naturally going to eventually show examples of people who are living that type of lifestyle, yet are still, in peak physical condition or have a high level of performance. Okay? So that's number two. There's no high-level athletes who are doing keto. And again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody's going to leave a comment at some point with a list of like thousands of professional athletes, like, oh, Michael Jordan was keto, or, some famous NFL player was keto. But all right, so why is this bad for you, the average person who is going to say, well, I'm not a professional athlete, I don't care, why can't I do keto? And I'm not saying that you can't, okay? This video is not me saying stop trying to do keto or stop trying to lose weight. Like, don't let me talk you out of anything. Like, don't let anybody talk you out of anything, okay? Just because I say it, and you think that my silk shirt from legendarysuitjamas.com is like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, and how if somebody who's wearing this shirt, like how could they possibly be wrong about anything, don't let that little factoid dissuade you from doing your ketogenic diet or trying it. Always try, always test, okay? However, you know, the proof is in the pudding. Like, where are all the professional athletes who do keto? Where are all the, you know, supermodels doing keto? Where are all the Instagram fitness people doing keto? I don't know. There's not that many. Or do they even exist? Because I feel like I would have heard of them by now. It's not the best argument, but I don't know. Have you heard of them? Do you know about them and this whole ketogenic thing? Probably most of the people that you know who talk about keto are, again, not to like offend anybody, but like super fat and overweight. Okay, so finally, with regards to this whole snake diet thing, how you need to be in ketosis to lose weight, technically that's true. However, I would encourage you, instead of chasing ketosis, which in my opinion is a huge waste of time, just focus on reducing your eating frequency as a means of losing weight and improving your health. Okay, it's not about being in ketosis and your ketone strips are black and like you haven't had a potato chip in a week and therefore you should be healthier, and meanwhile you're like eating a stick of butter with, you know, dipped in, I don't know, what is fat in it, like nacho cheese or whatever. No, that's not it, okay? Reduce the eating frequency. You might go into ketosis, you might not, all right? Or you might be a little bit in ketosis towards the end of your fast, but that's really the name of the game, is reducing your calories and reducing your eating frequency as a means of reducing your calories. Okay, so did that make any sense? 12 minutes rambling as I walk down the street. If you have experience doing keto or doing the ketogenic diet, let me know in a comment what your experience has been. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I totally basing this off of, you know, wrong stuff altogether? Let me know in a comment. I'm curious. Check out legendarysuitjamas.com. Peace.